Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to do a DIY recording studio desk like I did here. It's cheap, it's easy, and it won't take you a lot of time. So stick around and we're just going to get right into it. A few weeks ago I decided I wanted to upgrade my studio a little bit. I wanted a new desk to work with. I've been using an IKEA desk for the past year since I've been working from home, and it's fine. I had no problems with it, but I wanted something that looked a little bit better, something that felt something that works a little bit more with how I work, right? I have some outboard gear that I wanted to make more accessible, so I decided I was gonna build my own desk instead of buy one. If you're interested in building a desk like this, I have my build on my website, so you can go visit it, get ideas. It has a step-by-step process of how I built it, and blueprints, so that'll give you a starting point. The link's below. So to get an idea what I wanted to build, I went to the internet and I looked at different kinds of builds that I like, different companies. There was some DIY stuff that I thought was kind of cool, but there's some professional desks that I thought were really neat too. Once I had a good idea what I wanted and what I needed out of a desk, I grabbed my paper and pencil and just started sketching out ideas. And after about an hour or so, I started having a good idea on how I wanted to put together this desk. I started looking at pieces that I would need, how would that work with the next piece. Take a lot of time on this, like how are you going to connect the pieces, how many pieces you're going to need, get a rough idea of dimensions. Yeah, then you can head off to your trusty Home Depot. I went to Home Depot, I had my blueprints with me and I asked some people questions. I looked at different kinds of woods that I wanted to use. They had a lot of pine, so I decided I was going to use pine for my desk. Pine is really easy to work with, especially if you have very limited tools and very limited knowledge of working with wood like I do. The only downfall is it's a bit of a pain to finish, so if you decide to go with pine, just make sure you have a good wood conditioner before you stain so it doesn't get blotchy. Anyways, another tip too when drilling, and this goes for most wood, is maybe all wood, I don't know. Just especially in this build, pre-drill before you screw. I can't emphasize that enough. Like there's times I'm like, I'm just gonna screw this in and it splits, and yeah, so pre-drill takes a little bit of extra time, but it's totally worth it. First thing I did when I got the wood home was I sketched out the pieces. I drew out what my cuts were gonna be, just to get an idea, make sure I wasn't missing anything. And then when that was good, I cut, and then I kind of did like a pre-assembly to make sure that everything was fitting the way I needed it to. Good rule of thumb, measure twice, cut once. That's the saying, I guess. I measured like 4 times and then cut once, then probably had to cut again. Anyways, once I had everything cut and I was happy with it, I started the assembly. So I started the assembly with the feet of the build. I basically cut the legs. They were 12 by 12 squares. I saw that off of another YouTube video and I thought it looked really cool. I also then cut the feet. I used the 2-inch long boards that I bought. My desk is really in 3 parts. There's 2 racks and a tabletop. The 2 racks I assembled first. With this, the outside foot on each rack is longer than the inside. So that's just so my chair doesn't keep catching the feet of the desk whenever I slide back and forth. The outside foot of each rack is 36 inches and the inside is 26 inches-ish. Like I said, I have all the details and the exact cuts on my website. And then so once the feet were cut and assembled, I assembled the rack boxes. I did the sides in 3 pieces because it was more manageable. In hindsight, I probably should have done this in 1 big piece. I think it would have been cheaper, and I think the desk would have been a lot more sturdy. So there's a little bit of a wobble to this build, so you want to make sure that you add some extra reinforcement after the fact. I assembled the sides, I attached the feet to the sides, and then I added the tops of the rack, so where my speakers sit. Those are 20 inches and a quarter, and they're 12 width-wise. All the wood that I use is 3/8. So because I have specific pieces of gear that have to fit, you have to take that into consideration. That's why the tops are 20 and a quarter inch. By the time you add in the 3/8, that will be the exact fit for your studio gear. I have an old Behringer piece of gear that doesn't work, so I use that as a reference throughout my build. Make sure you double check all your cuts and that it fits your gear, because it'd be so frustrating that if you put the rack together and then you put your piece of gear in and it doesn't fit, or it's, yeah. So anyways, take your time on that. So I assembled, I put this where the speaker sits, I did the tabletop, same cut as the top where the speakers sit, 20 and a quarter by 12, and then the front of the desk as well, just to kind of close off anything that you might see on the cables, that's also the same size, 20 and a quarter by 12. And then you got to build these 2 racks. That was like the hardest part. But again, you could do this whole build in a weekend. It's really not that hard. I then went on to add the rack rails. I got them from Amazon. They were like $12 a pair. I got 2 pairs, and then I installed them. Just measured it out how deep I wanted to go. I used a pencil, marked it. So the table that I added is 20 inches by 36 long. You can add any size that you need depending on your workflow. I just went with this because it was just a simple pre-cut piece. But in future, if I decide that I want to have a console or I need more space, I can just go get another piece of wood and just reapply it and move out my racks. This desk is very, very workable. So depending on what comes up in the future, I don't have to build a brand new desk. I can just work with this one, which is really nice. I decided to build like a box to put my monitor up because I like it a little bit higher, and that box is set that if I decide I want to put gear in it, I can. Yeah, I attached the desk. I just ran 2 pieces of wood underneath, screwed it in. If you want to be extra safe, maybe put another piece of wood across just to give it a little bit more support. Up to you, whatever you want. Maybe that's the right thing to do. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I did. It seems to be working fine. So after the assembly, I did the finish. I sanded everything down with 180 grit sandpaper just to make it nice and smooth, get rid of any burrs or anything that might be an issue. And then I conditioned it with that wood conditioner. And it's really simple. You just slap it on with a brush or a rag. Wait about at least 15 minutes, it says, but I waited about 2 hours. I think you have up to 24 hours to add the stain after. It's really easy. It dries quick. So once I did that, like I said, I waited 2 hours. I then applied the stain. I used a walnut, just kind of with a cloth, put it on, waited 15 minutes. The longer you leave it on, the darker the stain's gonna be. I waited 15 minutes, then I wiped it off, did the entire desk, waited a day, and then I came in and added a polyurethane finish just to kind of toughen it up a little bit because there'll be writing and gear on it, so coffee mugs, so much coffee mugs. Anyways, added that, and that was it. That was the build. This whole build, like I said, took me about 3 days. You could probably do it even quicker, and it came in under $400. So compared to like an Argosy desk or something like that, where you might spend a couple thousand, this is 400 bucks, and it's easily customizable. So if I decide I want more gear in the future, I can add more. There's more spaces to add more rails, or I can get a bigger table. Anyways, that's my build. Like I said, I have all the instructions on my website. You can go visit it. The link's below. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I want to do more of these DIY things, and I always do other kind of gear stuff. So anyways, thank you very much, and I will see you guys later.